Has your M17 developed this fault? If so, then continue watching and I'll show you how to fix it. Remove the cartridge. Then you'll need a suitable thin tool for pushing out the pins and something to lock them through with. And something to rest on, which is a good idea. Now the pins are from that side, if that makes sense. So when you look at it, cartridge in there, so we'll take the cartridge out, which is obviously now empty. The two pins there have to be knocked out. Now they're knocked out from that direction. So where the cartridge is, turn it over, lay it down onto something so you can knock the pins out. And then using a suitable tool, in my case a small screwdriver, push the pin through. And the other pin through. You can now see that they're protruding. So keeping your finger on the end, because there's a bit of pressure there, only a small amount, and just pull the pins out, and you'll see that the pins have a serration on them. The serration is the last bit to go in, and we push them in from the cartridge side. So I'll take the two pins out. As you can see, it's on a spring. So then pull out the whole assembly. And that's the part you should now have. I'll zoom in on that. There we go, that's better. Right, so we have to now take this piece apart and do it nice and slow so you can see where all the parts go. So gently pull this part out, and then if you tip it, you'll see three parts, maybe in your case two parts, depending how it goes together, comes out. And got a spring, a small white nylon seal, and a metal seal. So put them to one side, and then if you look inside here, I don't know if you can see inside, there's a big rubber washer or O-ring, and there's a very small one at the bottom. So, right, so once you've taken it apart, that part we're happy with. Let's try and put it in the order in which it goes together. That's effectively how it goes together, with that one there and that one there. Right, hopefully you can see that on the video. Yeah, okay, so I stay there. Now the operation is that when this is loaded into there, the white PTFE and the brass bits are held in position by this little O-ring, and it pushes all that in and holds it like that. So to show you how the operation works, air pressure is coming in from there and is in that area there. So we then have these two parts here. The air pressure comes up and is pushing this brass seal here. Ignore the hole in the middle at the moment. It's got a sharp edge where my fingernail is, and that pushes into the white PTFE nylon ring, which I'm holding in my right hand here at the moment. You can actually see the indentation where the ring is pushing down onto it. So that goes into there. Now that white PTFE makes a good seal around the outside of that cast metal piece there, and then this piece holds all of that level with there. Now when you insert the cartridge into the gun, a small pin in the gun itself, pushes down onto this brass piece against the spring, moves it down, which then opens up, or it breaks the seal between the brass and the PTFE, which then allows air, or CO2, to pass into the cross-drilled hole and then out through this hole into the gun itself. Now, the place that leaks is where this PTFE round white seal actually seals on the outside of the casting, where it's not a very good fit in there, and that's where the leak of the CO2 comes from. So what we have to do is I presume, well, I don't know, I haven't tried, but I presume you'll be able to buy the PTFE part, but I'd be surprised if you can. Sig Sauer will probably want to sell you the whole cartridge. So what we've got to do is we've got to make that nylon or PTFE a better seal inside the actual cast part. So what I've come up with is very, very simple, and that's just using some PTFE tape. So put him back as he belongs. Right, so what we do is, using some PTFE tape, we found that if you wrap it, this is going to sound odd, I know, to start with. So using some PTFE, what we're going to do is just wrap it round about 4 times, making sure that it does go over the edge. As I've done there. And then we cut that. In my case, and then we cut the PTFE. We have to make sure that we still have the hole in the middle. Using one of the pins, just push the PTFE down each side. And now when we load the nylon washer in, it's going to be a nice tight fit. So load him on. I also put the PTFE washer on backwards, so it's got a new sealing surface. Drop the spring in. And if you push with your thumb, you'll find it's a really tight fit. And then use the washer to push it in firmly. And then we have to trim off the excess PTFE around the outside. You just sort of pull down with the knife. And we can cut off the excess. And bearing in mind you've got nothing to lose doing this. And then it pops out. So we put him back in again. It's a nice tight fit. And he pops out again. So we have to assemble this carefully and slowly. Right, you he's going to stay there this time. And we drop him on. I've got my doubts about this. Right, okay. So drop the spacer in. Load in the new part. Which now doesn't have a spring pushing out because we've got it jammed in the PTFE, but there is a bit of pressure there. So dropping back in the cartridge. Drop the pins back in. Knock them in. Make sure they're flush. And now you get a new cartridge. A little bit of oil on the end of it. Load the new cartridge in. And fingers crossed we've done the job. Ow. You catch your hand in there, which doesn't half hurt. Right, okay, it's now not leaking. So we'll load it into the weapon. We'll fit the stick first. Just zoom out a bit. Oh, wrong way, zoom in. Load them in. Take them out. And I've got no leaks that I can hear. Load them back in. And no leaks.